Welcome to the Sports Car Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. Happy 4th of July weekend, Independence Day. I hope everybody had a great time this weekend, spending it with friends and family and, of course, fireworks. And if you're watching on YouTube, that's my background. Some festive fireworks for today's episode. What a beautiful weekend up here in the Northeast. Hot and sunny. Great weather for a holiday weekend. I know I was unsure on the last episode whether you were going to get a regular episode or just a live episode tonight. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of both. I'll give you a shortened version of the solo episode, and I still plan on going live tonight from my Jaden Daniels extended bidding on Fanatics Collects. It presently sits at 2K, grossly undervalued. So I'm hoping big things are going to happen late with the extended bidding on this card. So this weekend, I went to a local show yesterday, Enfield, Connecticut. My guy Alex, Ideal Cards, this is his show. Happy they ran it on a holiday weekend. A year ago, holiday weekend shows, nobody really ran a show on a holiday weekend. Not a local one anyways. And now even on holiday weekend, 80 plus table show, tons of foot traffic. It really shows how alive and well the hobby is this time of year. I know the Dallas card show was this weekend. And I know that show never disappoints either. So yes, hobby is strong right now. Although at the Enfield show, talking to a lot of dealers, listening to a lot of dealers, super low on ultra modern football cards. Some complaining that the repackers are just swallowing up all the inventory. And I talked about football being, the value, the prices being low, and just holding the football, because I knew come late June, early July, the prices would spike. It happens every year. And for me, I also talked about having strong hands, right? Not pulling these cards out too early, which I tend to do year after year because it's just that lull and I'm not sure what inventory to pull out. I don't do baseball, right? I do the college stuff and that's all over with, right? So now it's left me with football, but I've been able to hold back on that and just keep it tucked away. Knowing that a month was going to make a huge difference in price. And it's starting to show right now. I know a lot of people are trying to buy heavy now to prepare for the national. And I say, look, if that was your game plan, that was definitely poor planning. This inventory should have been bought December, January, February, March, April. And it's tough to buy inventory in July to go sell at the national, especially, you want to make, you want to make a decent profit on something. It pays to buy early and hold, not to be buying it and, last minute to try to sell it a week or two later, or 3 weeks, or I think we had 24 days, I think it's 24 days right now, 24 days to the national. Right. So I guess 3 weeks. But I understand most dealers, their business plans don't account for holding a ton of inventory for 4, 5, or 6 months. I completely understand that. In fact, in this hobby, I think to be successful, as you need to start 6 months in advance of any season or any sport. Whatever you plan on selling, you have to be. I mean, I know. Uh, a lot of people don't follow that. I know I'm probably the minority in doing that, but I still believe if I can still keep preaching this, people are going to see the value in just being able to hold some of these cards. And you know what? I remember back when I first got back into this, doing this, and the football cards that I didn't sell in January and February, and I could see the value coming down. And I said to myself, man, I'm not selling that card at that. And I would put it away. And then I would forget about it. And then all of a sudden I'd be digging for inventory in June, July. And I'd be like, oh my God, I forgot about this. Perfect, right? Take it back out again. Oh no, it's Mac Jones. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? This is really by accident. I started realizing, man, this is just the way to do it. Just be 6 months in advance all the time. Uh, Even though, and I'm going to say the cards of most sports are now 12 months. Right? In other words, you'll see them at the show 12 months of the year. Whereas, like I was just saying, before, right after the Super Bowl, people would put the football away and be breaking out the baseball stuff. And you would see a lot of inventory disappear and then come back out. And it would happen with all the other sports. It would happen with basketball too. It would happen with baseball, getting to the end of the season, pulling them off. Basketball, same thing. After the NBA championship, the cards would kind of disappear. And then all of a sudden in the fall, you'd see them come back again. But now the product releases are coming so late in the year. In fact, they're coming 12 months a year, right? It's almost every month, every sport is having a product drop, which keeps driving the market. Brand new cards, right? Freshly pulled cards, first to market. It's driving the whatnot and the breakers and everything else, because there's just a new product coming month after month after month, where people can, that's just driving every single sport. And even grading. And I'm going to go with PSA. And I know this love-hate relationship, I understand, people, but I'm going to talk about PSA because that's who I use. That's the market tells me this is what I need to use, because I'm going to get the best value for my cards, right? So the last couple of years, we saw those orders put in May, just making it back, right? I can remember last year, and being at the National and getting a message saying, "Oh, your grades are available. Your package is going to ship," right? And I'm like, man, that was just terrible timing. The difference a week would have made for that order. But still, these were orders that we were putting in May, just getting back at the end of July. And now this year, I've got orders that I put in March, right? And it's not looking good to get back before the National. So we know, PSA is inundated. They're way behind. And if you, a little bit of a hoodwink too, right? And I'm going to kind of throw this out there too. They say, hey, you really want this? You could pay extra money. You can get it back in 15 days or 20 days, right? But that clock starts ticking when they enter that into their system, not when it arrives, at PSA, right? So some orders that I sent a few weeks ago for a 20-day, right, now it's showing me, July 29th or August 3rd as a completion date. And most times I would say, yeah, that's an estimate, but it's going to come early, right? But this year I'm thinking that may not come early. That may not come early, but I'm not that worried about the National, right? My inventory, my stuff that I'm sending, if I'm sending it 20 days or 15 days, I want to make sure I have that back for August for the West Coast. And I'm way in advance. I understand that. And I may be jamming up the people who are trying to get their cards back for the National, but my focus for my inventory is definitely on West Coast. Over the last few months, I've had this graded football that has come back in, and I'm saying I'm just holding it. Now is the time for me, beginning of July, to pull all that football out right now. Now I can start whatever is going to go with me to West Coast. That inventory is already put aside. Uh, Even the ultra modern PSA 9s that I've sat on that were almost worthless 3-4 months ago, right? Now they have some value to them. Now is the time I could start pulling that out when people are desperate for inventory, not only for the national, but Dallas Card Show, which is this weekend, right? Nashville's Card Show, which is next weekend, West Coast Card Show, which is in August. Here's the scenario. There these massive card shows with dealers that need inventory, and a percentage of all those tables at all those massive card shows are buying signs, right? Buying stations, people paying 90% or better. Um, so I suspect if you're sitting on inventory right now, it's a good time because it's a seller's market right now. If you're sitting on football inventory, it is a seller's market. People are desperate for that inventory. Months ago, I started a separate inventory. Uh, I thought I was going to be setting up at the National this year, right? Still a year away. When I realized that I wasn't, right, I pivoted to West Coast, and I still have that inventory. And that inventory is going to stay exactly where it is until it's time to head to California for that show. Certainly not going to break that up because that was the game plan all along. And there's no sense of desperation for me. I have exactly the inventory I want to bring there. I don't need to buy one more card for anything local. I mean, if something shows up, any deal shows up, hey, I pounce on it, and you'll hear I'll say on here, I have pickups from this weekend. I'll show you, I'll share with you at the end. If I find a good deal, I'm going to pick up a card. I may add it to an inventory to West Coast. I may add it to the case that I'm bringing to, my Zion case that I'm bringing to the National. Obviously, I'm not going there with no cards, right? I have cards that I'll bring there too, but all the cards definitely have a place for me where they're going, where they're traveling with me. In fact, I'm setting up next week at the Causeway Show, TD Garden in Boston. I put aside some inventory for that show. Not a lot, but some decent inventory. And I have my singles boxes, which I haven't put out at a show now, month or 2 months, whatever. And I've added to them. And again, it's all football single. I'll bring all the football boxes with the singles in it. And I have my buying sign, right? Put my buying sign up. Maybe some deals come by there. I know it's going to be hard to compete. I know it's going to be difficult to buy this time of year. And I know, I'm sure at this show that as I'm setting up, I'm going to see all the repackers swarming into the room, looking to pick up inventory because I know people are desperate for inventory right now. I can go a little bit further in my planning. I've got my notes right here. It's July 4th weekend. My notes, I'm planning already for the EC3 Con Show at Mohegan Sun in September. What that inventory is going to look like, what I have at PSA, what's coming back. Knowing I have over 200 cards right now at PSA and preparing more orders to go. Just keep staggering them. So I'm always have inventory coming back and I'm not being hit all at once with these grading bills. More orders that I'm preparing. I mean, between this and the orders I'm putting together, that should carry me right through to the end of the year with show inventory. Because you have to remember, like I think PSA is going to lighten up. I think what's going thought, right? This is what I think. Maybe not. I could be completely wrong, but I think we see after the National that orders start to get done, done a little faster, and in the fall they seem to get done a lot faster. There were times this past fall where 30 days I was getting, my bulk orders back in 30 days. So we'll see what happens with that, but I don't want to take chances. I know PSA just announced they're opening up 2 new locations, one in, I think it was Plano, Texas, and then the other one, which is in Florida, which is where SGC is. So whether they're adding on to that building, you know, or they're just going to use the SGC grading building, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but you know, they're saying over the next 6 months or so, you know, they should be able to deliver faster. And really, I think they're probably just basing that on what happens this time of year, this March, April, May, June, July, that everybody's just sending everything in for grading, right? Just crazy grading. And I know I'm the same way. I all of a sudden you pull a nice card. I pulled the dual auto, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. I'm like, wow, that's a card I need to get graded right away, right? So that card goes on a 15-day or a 20-day to get sent there. You know, a Caitlin Clark Silver Prism, right? Looked great. That's got to go quickly. And I think most people feel the same way, on top of all the bulk ordering that's being sent in too there. So I don't want to take chances that I'm going to be getting orders back if I send them in August, getting them back for September or October. So I just want to keep sending stuff now, send it early, and prepare ahead. So talk about dealers being desperate for inventory. So where's some of their inventory coming from? This article might have a clue. I saw this yesterday. Headline: record 305 million spent on trading cards in June. More than 245 million in eBay sales helped drive record month in hobby. And I'm going to just read a little bit of this for you. An all-time online sales record for sports and trading cards transactions was set in June, with more than 305 million spent on the hobby across major auction houses and marketplaces. According to Card Ladder, the 305.7 million total is the highest for a single month in Data Tools history. That total tops the previous high of 303.22 million in March, right? So almost within a couple months of each other. June's total will likely continue to increase throughout early July as additional sales are added to the final tally. The 5.2 million transactions logged by Card Ladder in June was the second most recorded by the tool, trailing only March's 5.6 million. June's record total was driven by more than 245 million sales on eBay and more than 32 million in sales on Golden. Fanatics Collects added another 27 million in sales across June. And according to Card Ladder, the highest card sold in June was 1.16 million, paid for the 2009-10 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection dual NBA logo man of LeBron James and Kobe Bryant at Golden. That was the only $1 million sale in June. That's a lot of cards. That, my friend, is a lot of cards. And I also think too that, you know, this may be a market that people are just able to find some kind of value back to eBay again, right? For people who are not setting up at shows, who are not taking these cards out to the buy stations at shows or things like that, or sending them off, then that they're just selling them, you know, just selling them on eBay. So there's a lot of inventory going to start popping up there too, and you know, people trying to get steals and deals. So yeah, that was my weekend. I had a great show up in Enfield. I'll just share my pickups with you here. A couple singles. Cameron Brink, two of them, the red to 299 and the orange Pulsar to 75. And if you're on YouTube, I'm holding them up. They're both raw cards. Also picked up Cameron Brink Blue Velocity PSA 10. Rakia Jackson Logo Prism PSA 10. Joe Burrow. So here's my lone football card, my lone pickup this weekend. This will go in my inventory to West Coast. It is Joe Burrow Genesis PSA 10. And like I said, if the price is right, I will take a chance. This card, I picked up a Caitlin Clark card, right? So she hasn't played in 2 weeks, groin injury, and I watched her sales were down. And look, when I show up and if somebody's selling the card and they're going to base it on the sales that are happening now and not the sales from 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'm happy to buy in on that. This was the Select Pink Ice Premier PSA 10. And I think I got this for a steal. I think that card should do well for me. And look, with the WNBA stuff, and I've talked about buying Cameron Brink cards. They grade so poorly that I'm buying some raw cards, but I'm really trying to look for PSA 10s, good deals on PSA 10s. I mean, Cameron Brink's PSA 10 stuff she hasn't even come back to play. I talked about this. She tore her ACL last year. She was supposed to be back in June. She's not back. There's no news, right? That when she's coming back and what's going on, but her prices continue to go up and up and up and up. So it's almost as if you can get a steal, get it. But if not, I just have to pass on them. So now that now I'm picking up some raw cards. Hopefully I could try to grade some myself, or gem some myself. But what I've noticed on a lot of the stuff if you can find this at 10 in PSA 10 at a reasonable value, I'm just buying it in a 10 versus going through all the work to try to take a chance of grading it to try to get a 10. Just doesn't make sense. I mean, the grading, they've been so hard grading not only the football prism, but the WNBA prism. And when I see a PSA 10, I think to myself, I do a little calculation. I say, is this worth it? Like if I were to buy this card raw and send it in, and the cost of grading and shipping and the time it's going to take, the months it's going to sit there, to take a chance for it to be an 8 or a 9 and not come back a 10. I'm willing to pay a little bit of a premium just to take the 10 and call it a day. Then I have to go through all that, work and worry, right? So, it's an interesting time right now with grading and cards and, PSA being so inundated. Like, I know the answer to this question, and I know people are going to respond to this, but are we getting our money's worth on the grading, sending it in now at this time of year? I'm almost happy that a number of my orders there are just sitting in research and ID, and I'm happy if they sit there for another month until after the rush and things slow back down, because I have a feeling with this rush, not many 10s are coming out of there right now. But that's a whole other episode, right? So look, tonight, 9:00 Eastern time, extended bidding starts. I am going to be on. I'm going to go up live. I'm going to have my card up there. If you're around tonight, definitely jump in, say hello, and we'll see what happens with that card. I have high hopes and I'm a little nervous at the same time, so we'll see. And I will be back with a new episode with the Hobby Chop this week as well on Thursday. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.